And welcome back to the last segment of our show. We're still here in Nye County. Chuck Augustin, Tom Gibson, and Chuck and I were chatting off the record, and we were chatting about the sheriff and all the problems the sheriff is having in California, not our local sheriff, but in Los Angeles County.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to justify what goes on in Nye County, but by no means are we the only county. This is nationwide, and I am constantly running across articles about, and we see it on the news, people getting executed basically by cops. Incredible things going on. Well, today in the LA Times, there was an article about the sheriff tries to expose list of 300 bad cops, but the courts and the union promptly block him. And basically, anyone that's followed what's gone on in LA knows there was a huge scandal over the jail system there and all kinds of abuses. The undersheriff, Paul Tanaka, was convicted in connection with a sweeping federal civil rights investigation of corruption and deputy on inmate abuse inside their jail system. It was allowed to grow out of control by a union and a system that helped cover it up. To promote a more transparent and fair system of justice, McDonald, who's now the sheriff, wanted to turn over the names and crimes of hundreds of problem cops to prosecutors, who can then add them to a database that tracks problem cops. This information can then be disclosed to defendants who may have been unjustly targeted by these cops. However, according to the LA Times, the union that represents the rank and file deputies strongly opposes providing the names to the prosecutors and has taken the department to court. The Association for LA Deputy Sheriffs argues that the disclosure would violate state laws protecting officer personnel files and draw unfair scrutiny on deputies whose mistakes might have happened a long time ago. And then an appeals court sided with them. So in other words, the sheriff has a list of 300 names he wants to put in a database which would be available to the defense counsels and to the prosecutors, saying these cops are shaky or horrible.
Well, that is what's called Brady material.
Right.
Maryland versus Brady, or Brady versus Maryland. It states that the law enforcement or the prosecutor is required to give notice to the defense attorneys of any crimes or shady dealings that would impact a police officer or deputy sheriff's credibility on the stand, and because, quite frankly, why should you believe a cop over a layperson? And
exactly.
it kills me when I'm in court and the judges always believe the cop. Well, why? I mean, everyone's a human. We all put our pant legs on, our pants on one leg at a time, and. You got Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, all lives matter, and we're all people. We're all created by the same God. We're all judged by the same God. We all live on the same planet together, and we should be all basically under the same tenets and rules that anybody else. But for some reason, because it's law enforcement, they have greater credibility with a court, and that's why when a judge hears somebody tell their side of the story, they're not believed, and it's really painful. Now, it's not always. There are certain cops that are notorious, and the judges hate it when those people come to court, because then they have to make a decision on, gee, do I believe this liar, or do I believe the citizen who maybe a liar too? I mean, so which is the bigger liar? Right.
Gary, we got you on the line. What do you got for us?
Okay. First, I'm going to go on law enforcement, but not from the very beginning. Okay. I lived in New Jersey, born and raised in Camden, New Jersey. Okay. Now today, Camden is a very heavy spot of badness of going on from drugs to the city going downhill. Atlantic City, all the government money, which I worked in construction union, where a lot of funds was put in there. Go back and look in Atlantic City where all that money went into them housing and go look at it. Then I moved to Chicotee, Virginia, Eastern Shore. It was an island. You couldn't get no more than 25 miles an hour on the island. Now, what I learned, okay, heavy police attention on the streets, where they're strict to keep it cleaned as a clean area, where there's hardly no badness that's going on. When them Smokey the Bears patrol the streets, when you came off your property, you belong to them and Jesus Christ. Now, I know I'm wrong, but I'm sticking up for the hard, tailored ones that keeping them streets clean, no matter what they have to do. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but the other end of it, to keep it clean and good, that you got a good township, you have to have a lot of heavy strictness stepping in.
Yeah, I've often talked with people. I was in the military 22 years, and a lot of people have said how horrible it would be to have martial law. And it's basically what you're talking about, a very strict atmosphere that basically cleans up the area. And we've heard about the Soviet Union and on, and nobody wants that. However, my own experience in the military was it was far more just under that sort of martial law than it is in Pahrump, Nevada, my experience. And I, for one, think very much that our country has become so corrupted, and eventually someone, whether it be Trump or someone else, to get rid of the corruption is going to have to exercise something so extreme that it at least resembles martial law, if it's not.
Well, it's not martial law, okay, the way you're putting it. It's heavy strictness, where the man has to put his hand on that table and plunk it on that table. That's the way it's going to be. Now, when them cops and the sheriff's department go on them streets, okay, they're putting their lives into a lot of hands where they have to look and swivel their head all the way around when they drive them vehicles or when they're walking the beat or anything else. Now, you have to have heavy strictness to stop something, right or wrong.
I disagree.
Yeah, I feel very much that the people and many jobs are far more dangerous than being a cop, including taxi drivers, etc.
Well, I worked in construction, okay, working on bridges and everything else, on stacks, 300 foot, 200 foot in the air, okay? But when you're a police officer today, it wasn't like yesteryear.
How so?
Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, all the statistics, now whether you believe it or not, indicates things like police deaths have gone down since the 80s. In fact, murders in general has gone down.
Well, it's starting to spike up a little bit because of Obama.
But actually, when you smooth out the curve, it's been a downhill road, and many attribute it to the amount of guns that people own. As the crime rate's gone down, people that have weapons has increased.
Right. It was for a good thing.
Yeah.
The more armed the populace, the less likely people are to commit crimes against them because they don't want to get shot.
Okay, well, look, I'm going to hang up. I just have one thing to say.
No, I appreciate it, Gary.
Give me an old-fashioned drill sergeant with that Smokey the Bear hat, and I'll take that man any day of the week and that police officer any day of the week and back him up, no matter what happens. Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Gary.
My comment to that is, if we got rid of, if we didn't have as many cops, actually the population starts to police itself.
Right.
It really does. And but like most people driving down the road and say, gee, something's not right up here, but I'll let the cops do that.
Exactly.
But if you know the cops aren't going to show up,
right,
people will actually do things that they wouldn't normally do. So, and the thing is, I take not offense, but it's wrong to think that I hear people, cops put their lives in the line every day. Well, so does everybody else.
I know.
Every time you go on a road, you put your, and I'm not knocking cops. It is a dangerous job, but there are far more dangerous jobs, and if you're talking percentages, it's a very small percentage of cops that get killed, especially, I mean, we have, Ian Deutsch got killed here a few years ago. And then you got to go way back in time before finding anyone else. And one cop killed is too many, but one civilian killed is too many. So,
Ray, we got you on the line. What do you got, buddy?
Yeah, this is the last call of the night. I disagree with Gary. What we have locally here with Nye County Sheriff's Department is abuse of power. I see it every day. I not only see it in the courts, I see it on the street. It's completely out of line. We got to have some control over these people. You give them a badge, they think they're God. They screw over everybody. Taxation by citation. Right now, the motorcycle cops are ticketing everybody so they can generate funds. Gary may have been in a place where something worked, where the cops were firm, but this abuse of power has got to stop locally. Sheriff Worley's got to put her foot down and say no more of this crap, and I'm going to start firing some of you badges because it's got to be done. So that's my word for the night. Well, you guys had a good show.
Wait, Ray. Here's the problem, though. Just say that the sheriff had the intestinal fortitude to actually fire a cop. That you're assuming that the union won't step in, and that's what a lot of sheriffs are afraid to do anything to bad cops because they don't want to deal with 5 years of litigation with the some whining litigating type individuals that all they want to do is make a few bucks off the county, and if they end up getting fired, that's all well and good because they get fired and they pick up the huge paycheck from the lawsuit, and then after they get their money, then they go off and live a happy life.
Okay, Ray, we got to head out, buddy. Thanks for the call and thanks for the show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.